Welcome to the My Creative Friends podcast, where I have one, sometimes two, three, four, who knows how, depends on how many mics I got. I'm going to do that again. Hey, welcome to the My Creative Friends podcast, where I have one or two good creative friends in the house, and we talk about creativity, life, wherever the convo really takes us. Today I got my longtime good friend of 15 years, Jovian.
Hey guys, what's up?
We actually recorded this already, and we were completely out of focus. The worst part is I have a screen for monitoring that kind of thing, and I did not register the fact that it was out of focus. So what we're going to do is try to change it up a little bit. I need to think on the spot of completely different questions, but I think we're going to start in the same place, because I still do want to talk about how we started in high school, just creating stupid little skits off our good friend Ryan's iPhone 4. And I remember, like, we were talking about this, but like our friend, when he got the iPhone 4, it was like, oh my God.
That was the iPhone 11 Pro Max of the day.
Literally. I remember there was like this big photographer who did like a pro photo shoot with the iPhone 4. And it was like, oh my God, like this is incredible. Like this thing is
those
the quality.
photos. Did you notice how the photos back then, like in the moment, like in the time when you took a photo with an iPhone 4 back then, it was like, holy crap, look at how sharp these photos could be.
Yeah.
If you like, I still have my old iPhone 4. That was actually the last Apple phone that I had before I switched to Android. And if I take a photo on that thing now, it looks like shit. No, I'm just saying, like, back in the day, you would take a photo on those things, and it would be like, holy, the power on this device. Compared to the devices nowadays, it's like minuscule.
Like, just the phones of today are insane, man. Like, even just jumping up to, like, iPhone 6 alone was, like, a massive jump.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's crazy. Well, like, that's an interesting thing for us to talk about, actually, because one thing that I've started to think about is the future of crop sensor cameras with how powerful mobile devices are getting and what they can do. Like, most recently, the iPhone 11 Pro, and comparing that to, like, I don't know, let's just look at the T5, the T series Rebel cameras,
the Rebel cameras,
right? Like,
Canon.
Why, like, if you, let's say you're in the market for a new phone and you want to upgrade your camera or get a new camera or whatever that is, right? You want a new camera. Why not get an 11 Pro?
Honestly, it's with the cameras in most of the mainstream devices nowadays. So like the iPhone 11 Pro Max, the currently the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus.
Yeah.
Like all of these phones, all the OnePlus phones.
Yeah.
Like the cameras on these phones, honestly.
Yeah.
If you want to, I would completely say it's fully possible for you to use your phone as a pro camera. Even if, like, you're going to photography meets in the community, and the photography community, like, no one is going to look down on you for using your mobile device as your main camera. Yeah. Like, no one's going to say anything because most of the cameras on your devices are that good.
And one thing, here's a cool thing, too. We just talked about this. A lot of the editing that you do on your photos are on your phone, right? So now you've effectively taken a photo on your phone, and it's on the device that you're going to be editing as well.
Yes. But I also use my, like with the power in the phones as well. Like, I use most of my photos. If I don't have access to a desktop, I edit most of my main camera photos on my phone using the mobile Lightroom. Yeah. And honestly, like, I could pretty much, although the desktop Lightroom has way more options and more flexibility, most of what I could do on the desktop, I could do on the mobile version.
Yeah. Can you do batch editing? Like, can you do multiple photo edits at once, or is it you're selecting one photo or you're going in and editing?
I have to, well, if I have my product, like, I could save my work on one photo, and then I could open up a different photo if I want.
And reapply it. Yes. Okay, yeah, because I think that's going to be the biggest difference between desktop and mobile. Is on desktop, the big advantage to using Lightroom is that you drop all of your photos into one project, and if they're all taken under the similar lighting and scenario, then you can just copy these settings and paste it all across
I
the
could
board.
do that in the phone.
You can do that on mobile too? Okay,
yes.
Well, there you go. Then I'm an idiot. But even as just a speed advantage, to be able to take this photo, to edit it, and then upload it all from the same device is insane. Instead of because really the past 5 years, 10 years, whatever, what do we know? We take photos on our DSLR, and then we upload it to our computer, and then we upload it to our phone, and then we upload it to Instagram, right? It's such a ineffective. It's not efficient. Don't get me wrong. These A6400s, you get 4K. That's great. That's cool. But when you get up to a certain price point, and you look at what these guys are doing, and what they're only going to get better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's gonna, as the market continues to expand, and as our technology gets better and better, it's just gonna go. It's not going to downgrade. And it's just going to keep going up.
Exactly. But on the on the crop sensor side, they are limited because on the mobile side, they're just trying to make it as powerful as they possibly can, right? When it comes to the crop sensor cameras, they can't bake too much into it because then you're taking away selling points from the big full frame beast that they're trying to sell on market, right?
Yeah.
That's why a lot of these earlier Canon cameras were not nukes. They're still good cameras, they're okay, but they didn't that's why it took so long for you to see the 4K support on a camera.
Yeah, that's true.
And Canon.
That's true.
Right? The 6D, what happened? The 6D, no, the Mark II does, right?
4K, I don't
still not yet, right?
No.
And then that's what's ridiculous because they want to encourage you, if you're getting a full frame camera, no, you got to get the 5D Mark IV, right? And if you want, now you can get the EOS R.
Yeah.
Right? But that's a different story.
That's a whole different camera, though.
Yeah. So one thing I did want to bring up really quickly again was you've done a lot of traveling these last couple of years. So obviously, you mentioned that you hadn't done a whole lot of traveling the majority of your life. Recently, through photography, through meeting people in the community, making friends, you guys have gone off and done a lot of traveling. What have been some of the places that you've gone, and what have been some of your favorite photography experiences there, things that you've captured, maybe a place you went?
Honestly, with the traveling, especially since I like you said, I've never really traveled a lot in my life. I was born and raised here in Ontario, and honestly, still up to this day, I've never left the continent. So North America, I've never left, but up until very recently, I've literally never left Ontario, at all. At one point, I went to Detroit with my buddy Ryan for half a day, and then we came back. And then my first big trip, the farthest I've ever gone, was with you to New York. And honestly, that trip was amazing. It was honestly just seeing the difference in culture and architecture, how the city was, all the photos that we took, all the photo things that we see for a photo that locals would not. They would see that as a normal thing.
We talked about this in the first time we recorded the video. But yeah, we went to Hard Rock Cafe over in the square, Times Square. Yeah. And we were there, and we went inside, and we already been there for a couple of days, and we're like, oh my god, this city is amazing, it's beautiful. There's Jovian mentioned all these different things, and we're sitting there, and we eat our food, and the waiter comes by, and I guess there's some sort of dead giveaway that we weren't from there, and maybe we said a few times. I don't know. I don't know what that was about. I don't know what that was about, but so anyways, the guy's like, so where are you guys from? And we're like, oh, we're from Toronto. And he goes, well, why are you here? Well, we wanted to see Manhattan and in New York, and it's just it's a thing that a lot of people want to do. It's on a bucket list. He's like, well, I don't get it. He's like, you guys come from Toronto. Toronto's beautiful. And we're like, what are you talking about? don't get me wrong, we don't think Toronto's like a bad place. Like we like Toronto, we still like to go out and shoot, and it's beautiful. But it's very interesting how when you're in something for a long time, you pay less attention to the details and how those details make the sum of it beautiful, right? I think that there's a lot of aspects of Toronto that, we've just been exposed to it so much that
you don't notice it anymore,
right? Because it's just part of the routine. It's part of the route to work. It's part of whatever.
And that's kind of part of what's awesome about traveling is that you see it's a whole different perspective. You're looking at everything through a whole different perspective than how the locals look at it. So like I could be taking a picture of the Empire State Building and I'd be like, wow, this is a beautiful photo that I just took. And a local would be looking at me like, why the heck are you taking a picture of the Empire State Building? It's just a normal building.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of the same thing as like how we look at the CN Tower. It's just so casual.
I know.
Okay, it's there.
But I was just thinking that like the CN Tower is a marvel. Like it is a very interesting building. But for us, and it's not like, I feel like if someone were to take a photo of the CN Tower, we get it. Like
like as from a tourist standpoint, we get it, but we're just not
even
impressed.
But it's not that it's less beautiful, it's just less attractive to us. You know what I mean? And I think that's what happens with a lot of people in these places, and that's why it's so cool. And when you go and here's the thing, I love going, and what I love about our trip as well is that we went to New York and we had a few places that we wanted to go, but a lot of it was unplanned. It was a lot of us just walking around and seeing and discovering these new places, and that was beautiful. Like that was so cool.
Even like the area that we were staying at in Greenpoint, Brooklyn.
Shout out Vinny's Pizza.
Oh yeah,
best slice in the world.
Best pizza I've ever had in my life. In all honesty.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, Greenpoint, Brooklyn. The street we were on was Nassau. It was just the culture in that community was amazing.
It was like it was really close, and if you're from New York, you'll know this already. Really close to like Williamsburg.
And
that's like hipster central, right? And that's why like we kind of were on the skirts of that. Yeah.
Like even the nightlife in this area was awesome.
Yeah.
And since there's so many different cultures in this one neighborhood, like honestly, it was a great experience. Yeah,
I think I saw like one of my favorite sunsets in New York. Actually,
in the park.
In that park, it was stunning. It was one thing that I was very surprised by in New York was how nice people were. Just people paint New York as having like the rudest, just like people. I don't know. You think like Wall Street and people just in their suits and like I don't know. Checking you in the street. I don't know. Punching you in the face. I don't know.
When we were there, like everyone was really nice to us. Everyone that we ran into and actually stopped to have a conversation with, everyone was really nice.
One guy, actually, when we were in Manhattan, the heart of Manhattan, there was a guy who stopped us and asked us if we needed help finding something.
Yeah,
you remember that? Yeah. In a suit and everything. I was like, what is going on? This is awesome.
Even the guys like at Vinny's Pizza, like, because we went there like almost every single day. In all honesty,
I remember there was one day we got full boxes for ourselves.
Within the week that we were there, we became regulars at that place, so we would be casually able to talk to the staff. Because we went there so many times during our vacation. And just couldn't get enough.
You know what one of my biggest regrets is?
What?
Not buying the T-shirt. They had
T-shirts.
They had like a green shirt, and it just said Vinny's Greenpoint, and I was like, oh, I want that shirt. But we had spent so much money just being there.
The vacation itself.
The vacation itself was a lot. Like, and it was fine. Like, I have no buyer's remorse or anything, just because I felt like we spent it in the right places. Like, we spent it on not just like any random shitty food. We got it at the places that seemed like they were like legit. Vinny's was the only one where honestly there was no thought put behind it. Vinny's was just down the street from our place.
We were looking for something to eat because we had just arrived. We were both starving, and I think you pulled up Google Maps and you're like, okay, there's a pizza place right across,
Yeah.
right down the road. So we ended up going there, and it ended up being the best thing we've ever eaten.
It was the best part of the whole thing. The best food we ate. The bagels were good though, as well.
Bagels, Moe's Donut Shop.
Moe's! Shout out Moe's Donut Shop. I'm gonna DM you on Instagram so you can see this and hopefully send me donuts. I really miss the donuts. Here's what I'll say, like tying this to photography a little bit. So for one, photography in New York is awesome. Like it was awesome. Just walking the streets, taking photos.
Especially if you've never gone there.
Exactly.
If you're like into photography and you're trying to plan a vacation, New York is a really hot spot for good photos.
Yes. I don't remember. What were you talking about?
You were gonna bring up
Who are
something
you?
about Central Park.
Central Park photography. Here we go. My favorite view from New York. Now, we went to a few different places. We saw some pretty cool views. Obviously, Brooklyn Bridge had they're all different, right? New York, Brooklyn Bridge was beautiful. Especially because we were there during sunset, and what we saw in the back of the sunset was, you saw the silhouette of the fire lady.
Yeah.
Fire
lady.
Yes, the fire lady. Statue of Liberty. There you go. And then we went to Freedom Tower.
Freedom
Which was
Tower.
It's the tallest view. It's the tallest view you can get. The elevator's cool, like this full LED like screen elevator shows you all these things. But when you get up top there, you can get some pretty cool photos of the entire city, and some too. Like like you really see far. But my favorite view, by far, is still the Rockefeller, because the
thing about the Rockefeller too is that literally, like when you go to most of these tall building observatories, it's technically not the roof. It's not the top floor.
Yeah.
With the Rockefeller, you're literally rooftopping.
Yeah.
You're literally rooftopping because you're like the end of the tour is the actual literal roof. Like you're on the roof.
Yeah.
You're outside.
Like actually, was my favorite part about that view was that it was the most intimate view with the skyline. Like when you're in the Freedom Tower, it's cool. You get to see a lot, but you're up looking down. When you're in the Rockefeller, you're sitting along the skyline. Like you're in it.
And then in regards to the original topic, the travel, I also went to California. I went twice. The first time was with my buddy Ryan by ourselves. And then most recently I went near the middle of last year. I went with a group. And it actually started off in Los Angeles. Then we drove off to San Francisco. And then from San Francisco, we went to Las Vegas. We also went to several national parks along the way, which included Yosemite, Joshua Tree, and
I want to go to
Sequoia.
How was Yosemite?
Yosemite, it was honestly, like, some of the views in Yosemite was amazing. Like, especially, like, I've never seen a full-blown waterfall. Like, I've seen Niagara Falls. Like,
I mean, that's pretty full-blown.
But I mean, like a waterfall and, like, surrounded by trees and everything.
Yeah, like those long ones. And it's like all this,
And that was the first. Like, honestly, Yosemite was really nice.
Yeah.
It's huge, though. When you go to national parks, you don't really... it doesn't really hit you until you're actually driving through it of how big these parks are. Man. It literally takes like hours just to get through the parks.
Well, I remember like when I went to Banff to visit my buddy, and and you experience this, I'm sure, as well. Like there's something about seeing these things, especially for the first time, like these mountains, or where you were, are they considered mountains or canyons or what?
Oh yeah, in California,
it's
like the terrain, it's amazing.
But in Yosemite, you have these massive like chunks of just like Mother Nature's art. Like honestly, it's outstanding. And when you go to Banff, and I'm sure you had a similar experience, and you go there, and even from an hour away, you see it. You drive in and you see it. It's big, and then you're in it, and you're like, oh my god, like this is unreal. And especially like you mentioned in the first time we recorded this, like where we're from is flat. Like you brought this up.
Flat.
Very flat. In California,
Like if you want, like when we say it's flat, like if you want really good landscape photos where we're from, we have to kind of travel out of our city areas to find really nice landscape shots.
Yeah.
Because it's very flat. Like all of our cities are built in areas that are very flat. Like the terrain is flat. And what's really unique about places like California, San Francisco, Los Angeles, like the cities itself are built in like the very bumpy terrains.
Yeah.
So like you could see mountains in the backgrounds, houses, communities, neighborhoods. They're all built on hills.
Yeah.
San Francisco, it was crazy driving in San Francisco because you're literally driving up huge hills. The car is like almost at a 90-degree angle. If you're stopped at a red light on one of these hills, you can't see the intersection. You're just looking at the sky. It's crazy.
Well, I know we're running out of time here. Don't want to hold you up for too much longer, but we'll have you back. Hopefully bring Ryan on too, and we'll have a 3-person discussion. This has been My Creative Friends podcast. Had a lot of laughs. Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome, bro.
So don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got to say. My camera's dying, so I'm going to close off this video. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
Oh, yeah.